Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Shiri and this is David, your tour guide in Israel. Today we went to Beit She'an.
So join us on our tour of the ancient ruins of Beit She'an. We're going to start our tour at the oldest part of Beit She'an. It's that hill over there called the Tel Beit She'an. A tel is a man-made hill which has layers and layers of civilizations stacked one on top of the other. Tel Beit She'an has 20 layers. So we're climbing the top of the tel for the views and also to talk a little bit about the biblical significance of ancient Beit She'an. So Canaan was a transition land, and Megiddo and Beit She'an were the two towns that controlled the whole region. That's why Beit She'an became so significant. Tel Beit She'an controls the meeting point of two valleys, the Jordan Valley that goes north to south and the Jezreel Valley that goes east to west. Below the tel is a stream of fresh water, Harod stream, an all-around fertile farming land. The first excavations were done by the University of Pennsylvania in the 1920s. They found Canaanite temples, buildings, dwellings, and fortifications dating back to the second millennia BC. In the 12th century BC, Egyptian rule reached its peak in the country, and Beit She'an became a key administrative center in the north. And this house served as the headquarters of the Egyptian governor. During the late Bronze period, from the 15th to the 16th centuries BC, Egypt occupies the land of Canaan, and Beit She'an became an Egyptian garrison town. A victory inscription of Pharaoh Seti I from the 13th century BC was found, and a statue of Ramses III from the 12th century. Both can be seen at Jerusalem's Rockefeller Museum. So there is a biblical reference in Beit She'an in the book of Samuel, the story of King Saul, his death with his three sons. There was a war against the Philistines, and the Israelites were defeated. And Saul and his three sons were captured by the Philistines, and then the Philistines take the body of King Saul and his three sons and hang them and display on the walls of Beit She'an. And then we read that the people of Yavesh remove the bodies of Saul and his sons from the walls of Beit She'an, take them to their town in Gilead, and bury them. Join us now as we tour the Roman and Byzantine ruins of ancient Beit She'an. We're going to start at the theater, and then we'll visit the Roman baths. Then we'll walk along the main street, the Palladius street, and visit the shopping center, the Sigma. We'll see the temple and the pillars that are fallen on the floor. We'll see Sylvana Street, and we'll go and visit the latrines, the public bathrooms, and back to the theater. This is the best preserved theater in all of Israel. I think we have like 6 or 7 theaters. The whole lower section is the original beautiful limestone seats. The theater of Beit She'an, Scythopolis, which had about 7,000 seats divided in 3 seating areas. But you can see how it's built in a beautiful semicircular style, facing the stage. Down in the center, that's called the orchestra. That's where the musicians were. And they would have plays and music and theater. And look at the view behind it. There's Tel Beit She'an. Wow. bathhouse. Like other Roman Byzantine cities, Beit She'an had numerous bathhouses, which this example, 8,500 square meters. Look at the size of this. There's like an outside court with colonnaded streets, which means they probably had some kind of cover. A swimming pool in the middle. זה הבריכה. בריכה חיצונית. So in this, the heart of the bathhouse was the sauna. So this is called the hippocaust. This is how they would warm up the water. Okay, you need to use your imagination and add another floor on these little pillars. Okay, these little pillars supported a second floor. So now there's a gap. And in the gap between the top floor and the lower floor, they would pump in hot air from the furnace. Over there we see with the bricks, with the fired bricks, there was a furnace, there would a big fire, and people would pump the hot air underneath the double floor. And then a third slave would come and throw buckets of water on the hot floor, and the whole room would steam up. This is the ancient world sauna. The bathhouse featured prominently in Roman social life. Rich and poor alike could afford the minimal entrance fee. They're sitting around in a hot room. This is the main street of the city. This street, built on the Roman foundation, was one of the more elegant boulevards in Byzantine Beit She'an, 4th to 6th century. Look how beautiful. It's got a paved road, columns on both sides, and it leads north to south. So Mr. Palladius himself was the governor of Beit She'an in the 5th century, and he sponsored the restoration of this sidewalk. And there's an inscription with his name. So there's the pi, there's the A, 2 L's, another A, a delta, and the IOS. Palladius. Yeah. There's a semicircular structure with small shops. This is called the Sigma. And inside these shops, they found the most impressive mosaics. This is the most famous mosaic of Beit She'an. You can see a woman, like the goddess of the city, and she has like the city on her head. Like the crown on her head is the shape of the city. You see there's walls and towers. Most striking is the floor depicting Tyche, goddess of the city. The mosaic is a copy. The original was stolen. So if you've seen this, let us know. מה, מתי?
בקיץ 89.
וואי, באמת? באו בלילה וחיסלו? So one of the reasons that Beit She'an is considered Pompey of Israel is because of the way it was destroyed. Beit She'an was destroyed in an earthquake in the year 749 AD. And the earthquake was so violent that the entire city collapsed, and the people deserted the town and was never inhabited since. And where we are right now, at the forum, at the center, you can see the destruction of the earthquake. These enormous pillars were standing on this temple up here, and they all collapsed down onto the floor. So you can see this capital was probably on the top of this pillar. And this pillar, you can see how it broke. It fell off the top and broke in 1, 2, 3 places. And here, the weight crashed through the street. You can see how and there's the capital that just rolled away. Other pillars rolled down the street, all the way down there. You can see all the different parts of the, like a Roman building. It had a base, and then a column, and then a capital, and then this is called a frieze, and these are called metopa, and then that was the roof. Now there's always a question, a debate, how come the city of Beit She'an was never restored after the earthquake in 749? And the answer is because in those days the city was under Muslim, the whole region was under Muslim rule, and the authorities just had no interest in restoring the city of Beit She'an, and the city was just left in rubbles from the 8th century until just recently. The excavations we see now are from the 1980s. Public latrine in Beit She'an. So this would be the public bathroom, and you need to choose 2 of these rocks according to the size of your backside. Don't choose one that's too big so you won't fall in. And then you just sit on it comfortably. Okay. Comfortable in the bathroom, Shiri? בחרת זוג לא טוב.
זה כדי שלא תתקי יותר מדי, יאללה.
How's Beit She'an?
Beit She'an is very interesting, fascinating place.
Overwhelming, I'm telling you, overwhelming, because I wouldn't think that in Israel there is a place like this, and I've never been here.
It's one of the most interesting places in Israel. You can actually see the past coming alive in front of you. You can imagine the people walking around, going to buy things, going to the bath. I hope you enjoy our day here in Beit She'an. We had a great day, very interesting.
And so beautiful, especially on a cold day. So if you like this video, please give us a big thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and write comments. Let us know where you'd like to go on our next tour of
Wonderful Israel.
Bye.
Bye.